We went looking for pitching and found a pair of teammates with promising two steps, a under the radar streamer, and the most desperate of desperation plays. All that is coming up next.
It's about that time.
Stoned on Sports.
How's it going, everybody? You're tuned in to Stoned on Sports Fantasy Baseball. My name is Matt. Got Kyle here with me. And we are talking pitching today, right? Playoffs starting as soon as next week for some folks, ourselves included here in one of our leagues. I know the podcast league, we still got a couple weeks yet, but it's looking like I likely won't have to occupy my mind with that.
Right.
So what do you say we get things rolling? Kyle, how the hell are you, buddy?
Doing great. Doing good. Give us that like and subscribe. It's free. Doesn't cost you a thing. And it would make Matt and I very happy. So,
of course, I missed that on the screen a moment ago.
Yeah, it's all right. You suck.
Hooray for
that. Let's see. First guy we're going to talk about. We actually talked about, I don't know, a couple weeks ago for a waiver pickup on one of our Tuesday shows. Osvaldo Bido of the Oakland Athletics, currently 43% owned on Yahoo. I actually picked this guy up 2 weeks ago in anticipation of this two-step start versus Seattle and Detroit, because I thought it would be pretty good. Of course, Detroit since kind of turned it on a little bit with their youngsters there. But Seattle, on the other hand, not very good. Last 15 days, bottom 5 in hits, tied 19th in runs, 20th in RBIs, 26th in OPS, and they're tied for third in walks, but they have the fourth most strikeouts. They are strikeouts are a very good thing for Bido. Detroit, same thing. Last 15, they've been kind of good with the young guys, like I mentioned, 6th in hits and runs, 10th in OPS, 15th in walks, but they've also struck out the third most in the last 2 weeks. This is good stuff for Bido. He's the 24th starting pitcher since the 1st of August, and he's really carved out a nice role for himself there, entering the rotation in July. He's been pitching quite well. Since August 4th, he's had 5 starts, 4 of them for quality starts. He's went 29 innings. His record's 3-1, pretty good. ERA is 1.55, WHIP 0.79, pretty damn good. On the season, he's appeared in 14 games, started 8 of them. He's 5-3, 3.21 ERA, and a 1.07 WHIP. Strikeout rate that I was talking, or the strikeouts I was talking about, he's above average. He's at 24.6, and it's worth noting he also had a 27% strikeout rate in the minors this season. The walk rate's where he gets in trouble there. It's at 10.5%. That's below average by 2.5%. He's got a nice 5-pitch arsenal, 4-seam fastball, slider, cutter, change, and a sinker. But he's really relied heavily on just the 3 pitches as a starter, his 4-seamer, his slider, and his change. His fastball comes in at almost 95 miles an hour. He's managed to average, 95 with his fastball in 4 out of his last 5 starts. And hitters have really struggled against his fastball. Batting average 206, slugging 270. Woba's at 3.05, and when you look at the expected stats versus the fastball, he should have performed even better. So how does Bido do it? How is he, making it as a big league pitcher right now? And it's soft contact, son. That's his strength. Average exit velocities in the 98th percentile, barrel rate 98th percentile, hard hit rate 100th percentile. So that's nice. He's not allowing that hard contact. Those hits or those type of batted balls become hits a lot more often. His ground ball rate is very bad. He's at 31%. It's in the 4th percentile in the league. And the fly ball rate's, about 3.5% higher than league average, but it hasn't really cost him. Even with a launch angle that's almost 22 degrees, his home run per 9 is just 0.32. He's allowed just 2 on the year. So pretty good stuff. I think pick him up for these 2 starts. It's somebody I'm going to keep on my roster because there's a road start the following week versus the crappy White Sox. So I would hold him. I think he can be a great contributor for you guys in the playoffs.
He gets a ton of horizontal movement too.
Yes. Let's see. Next up, this lefty pitcher for the Rays hasn't pitched past the 5th inning, mostly because he's getting stretched out there after Tommy John surgery, but he's been racking up the strikeouts. Matt, what's up with Jeffrey Springs for next week?
Well, he's got 2 starts at home against the Twinkies, or I'm sorry, he's got a start at home against the Twinkies, and then he's at Baltimore. And the Twins, they've been a fringe top 10 offense in terms of runs scored over the past couple weeks, mid-pack with their power and quite a few strikeouts. And it's been pretty much the same story with the Orioles, but they've not scored as much. In 6 starts so far, he's 1-2 with a 3.67 ERA. FIP and XFIP are right there in the same range. A 125 whip. He struck out 33, given up 4 home runs, walked 9 in 27 innings pitched. And again, yes, he has yet to go more than 5 innings in any start. And it's looking like he's got a pitch cap of around 80, but that's not stopped him from getting the strikeouts. His rate's at 28 flat, and he's striking out 11 per 9. There's plenty of swing and miss with that too. He's got a robust 13.5% swinging strike rate and an equally impressive 31.5% whiff rate. While his VLO is down from before the surgery, he's still getting a good amount of movement, and that's helped him to a chase rate over 30%. Walks aren't a concern with him either at the moment, but he's only throwing about 45% of his pitches in the zone, so it's worth keeping an eye on. He's at 3 flat per 9, but his rate is only 7.6%. Usually the command piece takes a minute to return after the surgery. With all that swing and miss, it's no surprise his contact rate is below 72%, about 5 points better than league average. He's doing well in the zone as well, coming in at 83.6. When batters connect, they're spanking him pretty damn hard. His exit velocity is over 90%. His hard hit rate is pushing up on 47, and his barrel rate is higher than we'd like to see at 10.7%. He's also not inducing much weak contact with a rate of less than 2%. He's a fly ball pitcher that gives up quite a few line drives, and he gets pulled more than most. The number of hard hit balls he gives up and the amount of balls being hit in the air, it's not a surprise. Or I'm sorry, it is a surprise that he's had 4 dongs dropped on him so far, but he's not allowed any in his last 3 starts, spanning 13 1/3. Can't argue with the results so far, and he does have a little bit of a track record, but now, like at the moment, there's some underlying volatility that could show its face here. I never thought I never thought I'd say it, but Ryne Nelson has quality starts in 4 of his last 5 outings. Can he keep up that pace in 2 road starts next week?
Yeah, I think he can. He got his most recent start. He got the win Friday. I think it was versus the White Sox. He allowed 2 runs on 5 hits and a walk, struck out 7, and went 6 innings. Like you mentioned, that's his 3rd quality start in a row. And he's really looking back. He's really looked a lot better since the beginning of July. Since then, he is fantasy pitcher number 14. I had no idea. He was just under 20 points per outing as well. In 10 starts since the beginning of July, he's 4-0, 62 innings pitched, 6 quality starts, a 2.76 ERA, and a sub-1 whip. He struck out at least 5 batters 8 times, and in 3 of those starts, he hit 9 Ks. That's not really his bag, baby, but we'll take it, right? On the year, 24 appearances, 22 starts. He's 9-6, a 4.29 ERA, whip at 128. The 4.29 ERA isn't all that impressive, but his 3.62 FIP indicates, he's pitched pretty damn decent this season. Strikeout rate on the year is 19.7, below average. But since July 1st, he is at 25.8 strikeout rate. That'd be the 18th highest rate. Walk rate, excellent as well, 5.5%, puts him in the 86th percentile on StatCast. Looking at some of his data and some of his film, basically, he's been increasingly better at getting ahead in the count, and hitters have been a bit slow in reacting. Around the beginning of July, he started throwing his 4-seamer a bunch more at the expense of his cutter. It was only about 6% more, and that's not a huge change, but it's not nothing either. His fastball has a 10-7 swinging strike rate. That's just above average. However, it generates almost a 30% called strike plus whiff. That's in the 74th percentile. And a fastball, he's getting a ground ball rate in the 93rd percentile. It's pretty amazing. It doesn't really explain all the increased strikeouts. I suspect he's getting ahead in the count using that four-seamer, and it really allows him to use his six-pitch mix much more effectively, keeping hitters off balance. He does allow hard contact. Okay, average exit velocity, hard hit rate, they're in the bottom third of pitchers. His swing and miss games kind of mix there. Chase rate's pretty good at 29%, but the whiff rate is horrible in the bottom 4%. The matchups on the screen there, you see both on the road at the Giants, very much a pitcher's park there. Last 15 days, the Giants are bottom 5 in hits, runs, RBIs, walks, and they have the 9th most Ks. Start anybody against them right now, right? Houston, last 15 days, yeah, they've been a lot better. 3rd in hits, 15th in runs, 16th in RBIs, 18th in walks, and in the middle of the pack there in strikeouts. I think Nelson will continue to be a good control guy. He knows how to limit damage on that contact. This means that he has a high floor, but that lower swinging strike right there definitely will keep his ceiling kind of low. They've Arizona moved Jordan Montgomery. He's struggled so bad this year to the bullpen. Nelson's got a clear path to remaining a starter there for the remainder of the season. I can't imagine why they wouldn't. So I think he should be rostered and kept and used in a streamer as a streamer in favorable matchups for playoffs. Definitely. Good bench piece to have. Anything in the chat there popping off?
No.
Nice. This Twins pitcher continues to provide reliable starts for fantasy managers and should remain a middle of the rotation option in fantasy leagues. What is Simeon Woods-Richardson offering next week, Matt?
Well, he has 2 road starts. Let me get this shit right, damn it. At Tampa and at Kansas City. That Rays offense has been struggling lately like they have most of the season. They're bottom 6 in runs scored. They've got the most strikeouts in baseball to go with a team average of 206 and a team OPS of just 612. Royals have been excellent, and you could argue they've been the best offense in the game over the past couple weeks. They're second in runs scored, not striking out all that much, and they're putting the ball in play. They got a team average just under 300 and a team OPS over 850. Still, this Twins rookie has been solid so far this season. He's 5-3 with a 3.85 ERA, a FIPS touch over 4, xFIP just under 4.5. So, a little bit of good luck there. A 118 whip, 102 strikeouts, 38 walks, 14 home runs, and 117 innings pitched. And prior to his rough start against Atlanta Tuesday, he'd been pretty good over his previous 3 starts, going 2-1 with 15 strikeouts, 4 walks, 4 dongs, 17 innings pitched. These damn home runs are getting him. He's allowed home runs in his last 4 starts after allowing just 1 in his previous 23 2/3. While his strikeout numbers, they're a little below average, but they're still decent. He's got a rate a tick under 21%, and though his 7.85 strikeouts per 9 leaves a bit to be desired, it's still passable. Adding in a little context, his swinging strike rate is a little over 9.5%, and his whiff rate's at 22.3. Both marks are significantly lower than that of his peers, but he's still getting the job done. He's also doing a good job of not beating himself. His walk rate is below 8%, and his walks per 9 is under 3. He sports primarily a 3-pitch mixed with a show-me curve that he tosses every now and then. And he gets some pretty good movement, and that's helped him to a 29.1% chase rate. He does allow more contact than we'd like to see with a rate over 80.5%, and he's flirting with 87% in the zone. Hitters are quite aggressive against him too, especially in the zone. They're swinging at over 70% of his offerings there. Despite all that contact, batters aren't necessarily putting good wood on his balls. His exit velocity is good at 88.6. He's got a hard hit rate that's really good at 36.6. The barrel rate's a touch high at 9 flat, and that's being driven by a high 17.7 degree launch angle. He's also not inducing much weak contact, coming in at just a 2.3% rate. He is a decidedly fly ball pitcher that gets pulled an average amount. Typically, that would be concerning, but he has the benefit of playing in two parks next week that suppress home runs fairly well, especially in KC. He's not without his risk, but I do think he's a pretty good option for you if you're looking for innings, especially that start against Tampa.
For sure. This Cardinals pitcher has not allowed more than 2 runs in any of his last 4 starts, with a total of 6 earned runs allowed. What does Andre Pallante offer for managers looking for an extra start next week?
Well, he's got starts at Milwaukee and at home against Seattle. Milwaukee, they've been kind of mid-pack offensively as of late in terms of run production, but without much power. They strike out quite a bit and they will draw a walk, but on the whole, they've not been as good as they were earlier in the season. And every team goes through slumps. It's a 6-month-long season. There's ups and downs. Seattle has been bottom third in terms of runs, but like Milwaukee, there's not been much power. We've known all season they will strike out a ton and draw a walk, and lately they've got a team average of just 209 and OPS of 638, so they're really struggling. Pallante started the season in the pen, but was moved to the rotation starting in late May, and I'm going to try and focus on his time as a starter, during which he's 6-5 with a 3.50 ERA. His FIP and XFIP are in the same neighborhood, a 1.25 WHIP, 62 strikeouts, 30 walks, 5 home runs, and 82 1/3. If you're looking for strikeouts, you're barking up the wrong tree in theory. But given the matchups, there may be some upside compared to his baseline. Since moving to the rotation, he's got a strikeout rate of 18.2%, and he's striking out just 6.78 per 9. Oh, wow. I just realized those numbers went in order. 6, 7, 8, 9. Anyway, there's next to no swing and miss with him either. His swinging strike rate's just 8.6%, and his whiff rate is in the bottom 10% of the league at just 20.4. He's not really fooling many batters either with a chase rate of 25.6%. He works off his four-seamer a lot, like over half the time. And while he has good velo, it's flat and straight. And like most things in life, that's not good unless we're talking about lumber. Both of his breaking offerings get good drop, but there's not much horizontal movement to them. He's going to issue some free passes with a walk rate, and he's walking 3.28 per 9. Given how much both of his opponents draw walks, there's a chance he ends up beating himself pretty hard here. So keep that in mind if you're looking that way. He gives up a lot of contact, over 81% overall and just under 90% in the zone. Normally, those numbers would cause some concern, but he has some other attributes that help negate those high contact rates. First of which is the quality of contact he allows. Since entering the rotation, he's got an EV of just 87.1, a hard hit rate of 34.4, and a barrel rate of just 2.8%. It certainly helps to have an average launch angle of just 1.5 degrees. He also induces more weak contact than most. Probably his greatest strength is his ability to get ground balls. His ground ball rate is a staggering 62.1%. Like, you can't make this shit up.
That's good.
And with that high ground ball rate, we can absorb the relatively low strikeout rate and still have him satisfy the Kevin Brown quotient. For those of you that don't know what that is, it's having a ground ball rate plus a strikeout rate totaling more than 75%. If you can do that, chances are you're going to have some success. He doesn't allow many line drives, and his fly ball rate is really low at just 15.4%. Want to keep in mind, this dude has walked multiple batters in 7 straight starts, and he's only struck out more than 5 batters once this season. But he's shown the ability to get a strikeout per inning in quite a few starts. All in all, I think he's a solid play next week, but I wouldn't guarantee success. But there's some better options out there probably.
Yeah, some other ones that we've talked about for sure. We got a couple questions in the chat from 2K.
Awesome. Hopefully I have answers.
You do. Got to buy, looking for SPRPs. Thoughts on Pallante or Bradford? That's why I kind of held up there. I was going to let you do your piece. What you think? We talk about Bradford on Tuesday?
Yeah, we talked about him Tuesday.
Yeah.
Honestly, I think they're both pretty good. Squirt gun to my head, I'm going to take Bradford.
Agreed. I like that better. And then a rank rest of season. Where did it go? Butler, Ramos, Armstrong, Cruz, or Big Christmas?
Damn. Boy, Dylan Cruz has really started out on fire, hasn't he?
Mm-hmm.
He's doing really well. Well, I mean, he was the number 3 prospect in baseball. I like John Kenzie Noel because of just the massive power upside that he has. But at the same time, like, you're going to sacrifice in some other areas there. Cruz, while he's starting out hot, that's awesome. But, we don't know how long that's going to last. I'm going to go Ramos, Butler, Cruz, Armstrong, and Noel.
Okay.
Just because Noel, like I said, he's got that power upside, but what else is he going to give you?
What do you like about Ramos more than John Kenzie Noel? I think they're kind of a similar player. They both offer a lot of power.
They do. For me, I like the lineup around him a little bit better. San Francisco's been doing, fairly solid. Cincinnati has been struggling quite a bit. Other than that, I think that's going to be the biggest thing for me there.
Okay. Good question, 2K. Hopefully we helped you out there. Heck yeah.
All right, Kyle's turn. It's not often you can find pitchers on the wire that strike out plenty and don't walk many, but here we are. Tell us why we should be looking at David Festa next week.
He's looking pretty good. He took the loss yesterday against the Braves, I believe. 2 earned runs, 2 hits, 1 walk, struck out 7 over 6+ innings, and he got his first career quality start. And he looked completely dialed in, right? This is the first time he's completed 6 innings in the majors, and he really looked outstanding for the full 6. And one thing I noticed versus his season trends in the game last night is he heavily featured his slider, and he threw it 47% of the time, a career high, and it was working. It was moving. It was nice. His changeup's been his best secondary pitch this season, but I think the slider's even more important just because it gives him that nice secondary pitch to lean on. Fastball's pretty good, above average mile per hour of 94.8, and it's especially fast to hitters with the extension. A 6'6" Festa gets with it. On the year is 9 appearances, 8 starts. He's 2-4, 42 1/3 innings pitched. ERA is just under 5, though his xFIP's about a run and a half better. Strikeout rate that Matt mentioned, it's outstanding, 28.7. Among the 366 pitchers with at least 40 innings pitched this year, it's tied for the 32nd best rate in the majors. Walk rate's good as well at 6.7, putting him in the 68th percentile. He has had a little bit of trouble keeping the ball inside the fence this year. His home runs per 9 is 1.70, allowed just 8 in those 40-some innings, but a lot of those happened late June and early July. He's been much better recently. However, the hard contact numbers haven't been too bad, which is a nice sign for him for future outings. Exit velocity is right at league average at 88.8. His hard hit rate's at 37.7, puts him almost in the 60th percentile, but he has allowed too many barreled balls. He is excellent at swing and miss. Both his chase rates and whiff rates are both in the 70th percentile or better, and he has above average swinging strike rate of 12.5 and a called strike plus whiff of over 30%. That's good. Matchup. He does have 2 starts. I can't remember who the other one's against. I think it's the Royals, if I'm not mistaken. I don't want to run him out there against there. So I'd stream him at Tampa Bay on the 3rd, Tuesday. Tampa Bay the last 15 days, not very good. 18th in hits, 26th in runs, 23rd in walks. They have the 2nd most strikeouts and the 25th in team OPS. So it's playoff time. Fantasy managers can never have enough too much. You need starting depth for pitching there. You can never not have enough. You never know when a pitcher could get hurt or somebody else is subjected to, an innings cap. So I'm looking at Festa for an ad for the stretch run with some upside there and keeping around for the playoffs if you got the room. It's hard to leave somebody that's striking out people almost 29% of the time on the waiver wire. If you don't plan on starting him, at least keep him so somebody else fucking can't.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, yes.
Gotta
keep away.
Gotta play defense too. So, all right, next guy. He's an old guy. 35-year-old Nationals pitcher just posted consecutive wins for the first time since August of last year, and he's had a pretty nice August this season. Matt, can desperate fantasy managers use Patrick Corbin next week?
So this is the most desperate of desperation plays. And I'm talking desperate, like you got dumped at the altar and you're now in like an 18-month dry spell and you just hit up the first bar you see, right? So he has 2 road starts at Miami and at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh actually hasn't been awful lately. They're top 5 in runs with some power, striking out quite a bit and not walking much. Miami is mid-pack and runs with a little bit of pop, and they put the ball in play. And honestly, I can't believe I'm presenting this guy, but sometimes you do what you got to do. All right. On the year, he's 4-12 with a 5.5 ERA. His FIP is a run lower, and his xFIP is a 1.5 lower. So there's been some bad luck there. But bad luck doesn't get you a 1.5 whip. He's struck out 113. Walked 48, had 20 dongs dropped on him, and 147 and a third innings pitched. But he's been decent over his last 3 starts. He's 2-0 with a 1.65 ERA, struck out 16, walked 5. He's only allowed 3 earned runs in 16 and a third. And 2 of those starts were at Philly and home against the Yankees. You're probably not going to get too many strikeouts from him, but he does have that kind of any given game upside. He's got a 17.6% strikeout rate, and we'll call it 7 per 9. Not really a whole lot of swing and miss, but he's better than some of the other players we've discussed. He's got a 9.7% swingy strike rate, 21.5% whiff rate. His walk rate is solid at 7.5%, and he's walking fewer than 3 per 9. He's also doing a good job of fooling hitters despite being a softer tossing lefty. He does give up a bit of contact, but he's still under 80%. His zone contact is also high at 89.7. The defense behind him isn't doing him any favors either. Quality of contact is pretty damn bad. He's got a 91.1 exit velocity. Hard hit rate is up there, pushing up on 48%. And barrel rate's a little bit better, but high at 8.4%. And he does coax more weak contact than most. He's a ground ball pitcher with a rate of 48.5%. That's top 20% in the league. His fly ball rate is under 20%, but his line drive rate is high at almost 28%. Like I said, he's a major desperation play. If there's just nothing else for you out there on the wire, you can give him a look. If you just want to stream him against Miami, I get it. If you don't want to pick him up at all, I completely understand that as well. But just given how he's pitched over the past couple of weeks, I thought it at least warranted a little discussion.
Okay. 2K is back with a question. Rank these: DJ Hers, Aaron Savali, Patrick Corbin, and Festa.
Festa's at the top of that list for me, followed by Hers, Savali, and Corbin.
Yeah, Corbin is, I just put in the chat, he is the most desperate of options.
Yes.
The matchups are good because of Pittsburgh and Washington, but not good. Not good at all. I think you got one more guy, don't you, Matt?
Yep, one more, and this is kind of an under-the-radar streamer, and I'm talking about Frankie Montas from Milwaukee, streaming him in his start at home against Colorado next week. He's only owned in about a quarter of leagues, and that Rockies offense on the road is bottom 3 in runs scored this season. They've got the most strikeouts, mid-pack, and power, and they're pretty much just mostly ineffective. On the year, Frankie's 6-9 with a 4.64 ERA. FIP and xFIP are right there in the same neighborhood. A 138 whip. He's struck out 106, walked 51, given up 16 home runs and 120 and a third innings pitched. And since being traded to Milwaukee, though, he's 2-1 with a 3.33 ERA. FIP a little lower, xFIP a little higher. A 119 whip, 28 strikeouts, 10 walks, 2 home runs in 27 innings pitched. Happy to see the strikeouts come up a little bit. His rate's over 24% with them. And he's getting better than average. He's getting better than God damn it. He's getting better than a batter per inning. Why would I even write it that way? Swinging strike rate is just a hair low, but it's fine. And his whiff rate is still below average. He's throwing first pitch strikes a little over 58% of the time. Getting ahead early makes things so much easier. His chase rate has taken a small dip, but on the year, he's a little better than average. Walks, they're a little bit higher than what I'd like to see. He's walking 3 1/3 per 9 with a rate of almost 9. But Colorado also has the fourth fewest walks as a team, so I think we'll be okay. There's nothing alarming with his contact rate. It's under 78%. He's a little over 83 in the zone. Batters have been pretty aggressive against him in the zone as well, and he's working there over 51.5% of the time. Quality of contact, that's a little iffy. Exit velocities at 90 flat, hard hit rates over 41.5%. His barrel rate is really good at 3.9%, and he's about average in the amount of weak contact that he gets. He skews towards being a fly ball pitcher. His ground ball rate is a few points below average, line drive rate a few points above, so he can be susceptible to giving up more hits, but he's got an amazing defense behind him to help him out. He's got a cherry matchup at home against a weak road team for a pitcher with 9 strikeout upside any given start. If you're just looking for one guy and something that looks to be more of a sure thing, that's Frankie Montas.
Okay. Some good stuff. Let's see. Rank these: pizza, pasta, chicken, steak.
That's a good one. I'm going to go with steak, pizza, pasta, chicken.
Yeah. I really love pasta. I might have to put that second after steak. I don't know. Pizza's so good. You can do so many things with pizza. God, love it. Does pineapple belong on pizza, everyone?
In theory, I'm going to say no, but at the same time, it's your meal. Eat what you want.
Yeah, I got a Hawaiian, I don't know, a couple weeks ago. It was good, but I don't usually get it, but sometimes I do. So
I keep telling Kelsey she needs to try Detroit style pizza because that is the best.
It's pretty good stuff. I've always read that, and I don't know if it's really true, but as you start on the East Coast, the pizza's great and it gets worse as you head to the West Coast. I don't know if that's true. Sorry, Kelsey, you got shitty pizza out there in Cali. All right, we're going to get out of here. Give us a like and subscribe. Really appreciate it. If you like our content, we would appreciate it. We'll return next Tuesday for some great waiver options for fantasy baseball. And, of course, we do fantasy football, too. Our first live stream of the regular season will begin next Thursday, September 5th, NFL opening night. Chiefs-Ravens will be on at 8 p.m. Eastern. As soon as baseball's done, football will eventually move down into the 7 o'clock slot there again, like we have done all year here. So love it. It's going to be a tough few weeks there trying to do a bunch of shows for football and baseball, but we love it. We wouldn't have it any other way. So all the links are below in the description. Have a great night, everyone. Stay stoned.
We have time slots. End the stream.